Jose from stampinjo.com, and welcome to this week's Wednesday Stampin' Gals Gone Wild freebie. Now I'm really excited about this one. I know it's totally basic, but I get asked these questions all the time about getting really nice crisp images on your cardstock. So I thought we would go back really to the basics and show you how to ink up your stamps in all kinds of different ways that will make it just a nicer, crisper image. So now we're going to talk about 3 different types of stamps that we have in our catalog. We have the wood stamps, so these ones come permanently on their wood blocks. We have these ones here which adhere to the clear blocks, and you can see they come right on and off, so you can have your clear blocks for multiple stamp sets and just keep putting them on your blocks. And then we have the photopolymer stamps, which are these clear stamps that again basically cling onto our clear blocks. Each one has its benefits. So of course with the wood stamps you don't have to look for your blocks and they're always on there ready for you to use. With the cling stamps, so these ones that cling, one of the good things about it is that you can actually see right through. So as far as positioning goes, these stamps tend to be a little easier to position straight onto your project, and they're a little bit more economical to buy because initially you do need to get your blocks. These blocks come as 9 different sizes. You can get them individually. You can get them as a set of our 3 most popular, or you can get the whole set of 9. Now you use these clear blocks with our photopolymer as well, and the photopolymer are see-through, so definitely for positioning this is the best and easiest one to position, and you're going to see some of those throughout our catalog as well. Now the way to figure out what type of stamp it is, you'll see by the item code W will be our wood blocked stamps, C will be our clear mount stamps, and then the ones that say photopolymer are the clear ones. Now the thing that you want to make sure when you're stamping is that your ink pad is inky enough. So you're going to find sometimes you start to stamp and you can't get a really nice crisp image. So there might be a couple of reasons for that. The first is your stamp pad doesn't have enough ink on it. So I'm going to show you how to ink it up. You're going to need its matching refill. Now a lot of my customers will get both at the same time so that you always have the ink color to go with it. And what you're going to do is I just go in one way this way. Now this one's fairly inked up so I don't want to put too much, and then I go the other way depending on how dry it is. And I just take a plastic spoon and use the back of it and just work it everywhere onto my ink pad. I tend to let it sit for about at least 10 minutes just so that it seeps through the whole foam pad. Now our new ink pads, you've probably noticed, are a little squishier than the other ones. So when you ink up your stamp, you don't want to press really, really hard. It really is just kind of a light tap, and you can look on the other side. See, I even press too hard because I've got ink all over the edges of my stamp, and what tends to happen is if you press too hard like I did, you're going to press pretty hard on here and get these little lines on the sides which aren't really supposed to be there. So making sure that you have kind of a nice pressure but not too hard. I'm just going to try and get some of that ink off so that you're just inking up the actual stamp part. Now when you do ink up your stamps too much, this is where your Stampin' Scrub comes in really handy, and the mist that goes with it. So this is kind of like your washer and dryer of every stamp. So you can actually start from fresh and just wash it on the wet and dry it on the dry side. And then you're going to see it's perfectly clean again, and I can try again to ink it up so that all my edges aren't there. The other thing I sometimes do is, depending on what stamps you get, sometimes I find that they're not close enough to the words, and there's certain stamps that you really do want to trim off that excess rubber. So in this one here, I could take some really, really sharp scissors and trim an edge so that I don't have as much of that excess rubber. So for this one here, it's pretty juicy, so I'm literally just touching it, and you can see that now that I haven't pressed as hard, I don't have any of that additional ink. When you're going down on your paper, like I said, you can see through a little bit better, So it gives you a really nice crisp image. Now for my neutrals, I really do use the Stampin' Up! Ones. You're going to find that our Whisper White is perfectly made to stamp on. And the reason for that is because it's really smooth, not as porous as most whites, and it is made so that you get a really nice crisp image. With the photopolymer stamps, now these ones, as I said, are clear. So let's say I wanted my heart right about here, then I can do it perfectly exactly where I want it to be. Stampin' Up! Is coming out with more and more of these photopolymer stamps, which is really nice, and you're going to see that there's lots more variety in them. Now the last one that I wanted to show you is one of these big background stamps. So not only is this a wood-mounted stamp, but it's huge. So I'm going to give you a few tips on doing this one as well. When I ink up my stamps like this, I actually go upside down and tap my ink pad onto it. Now, you're going to see a couple of different things. One is sometimes, depending on the table that you stamp on, it kind of gives a little bit in the middle when you press down, so it doesn't give you a nice image. So there's a couple of different ways with these big background stamps that you can do it. One, you can actually put your paper on top of your background stamp. So let's say we do that. And you can take a roller, or you can just use your hands and press it all over, making sure that you don't move your paper. And then you can pull it off. And you can see I have a really nice image other than this little smudge over here, but let's pretend I didn't do that. So, nice image. The other way that you can stamp these is we have what's called a paper piercing mat. Now, the other use for this is not only just to poke holes in your paper, but you can use this as your stamping surface. And it helps when you find that your table isn't a perfect stamping surface. So what we're going to do is put our cardstock right on top of the mat, and then we're going to ink this up again and stamp it right on top of that mat. And again, give it nice pressure everywhere. Now I find with these background stamps, I am not that picky as to whether everything is stamped, because I kind of like that vintagey, not so perfect look. So we're just going to press, and then you can pull up, and you can see that there is a few spots that are lighter, but personally, I really like it that way. Well, there you go. This is Stamping 101, really the basics. So I hope you learned a couple of tidbits, and I want to thank you on behalf of me and Connie for coming to visit us every Wednesday, and remind you that to get this month's Stampin' Gals Gone Wild exclusive videos, we have 6 amazing things to show you. All you need to do is spend $20 in Canada in my store, or $20 in the US in Connie's store, and you will get those videos for free.